what's up, guys? Kevin said he'll join in like 10 minutes, so I figured I'd just get started with what we're going to do today. So we are going to look at like kind of making a user profile page. That's the main thing that I want to do like first, is just like so that our users now that we've made yesterday that can log in, like I've been able to log in as like me. It logs me in and now I'm like logged in. Like I want to make like a profile page where I can say like go to profile. Yeah, like that's pretty much where I'm at. Obviously we could add more stuff that indicates who's logged in and stuff like that, but like right now I'm not too phased. It really doesn't bug me. Anyways, so yeah, before I get started, Kevin wanted me to actually go and update. I did do maybe I did that late. Yeah, I made some changes and I didn't actually like push them through, so I'm just gonna push through my changes. More user creation code, I guess. Auth code stuff. I'm not even gonna be descriptive there. Just like pushing that up, and I'm gonna yarn deploy so that like that link that's in the description of this video is more up to date, and then I can run my yarn deploy. I should actually update the description of this video. I didn't do that, so yeah. Today's stream will focus on creating well, I guess a user profile page. There we go. I'll just keep it short and simple. Sweet. So what we're essentially going to do, and this is not new to Kevin, so I'm not phased with him missing out a little bit, but I'm going to make a page called profile. So new folder, profile. And I was thinking what we could do with our like roots and stuff is we can have like a hashtag for the room number, like the room ID. So we say like hashtag AAA should take us to the room. So if we look at our project, we go like / hashtag quadruple A. So make sure this works. It doesn't actually work unless this wasn't updated. Weird. Thought that would work. What if I say plus? There's just like that weird little routing stuff with React Router where I don't think so it works when you say plus AA, but it doesn't work when you make it a hashtag. That's weird. I guess we're using the browser routers like hashing things, so that's not gonna work. But yeah, we can make it a plus, and then we'll make it a plus for the room number, and we'll make it like an @ for the profile. Okay, cool. Kevin's ready, so I'm gonna hop on the call with him. That's my face. Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, my bro? How's it going?
I'm good. Yeah,
Oh,
just got started a little bit with what we're doing. I broke things. No, that's
what
the other
did you
page.
break?
I'm trying out random little like routing things. So like you can say plus
Okay.
and then the room ID if you wanted to, and like we
Oh,
can do
yeah.
it like that, and it works like that. So you don't have to say /room /ID. And then I was
Okay,
like thinking
sweet.
like, oh, for the profile I'll do like an @,
Yeah.
sort of like Twitter style.
Mm.
And then if you made it like an @ here.
Can you share your screen, please?
Yeah, that would help.
Thanks.
My word. You got your
No
coffee.
stress. Oh, yeah. Got it. It's so cold here today.
Is it? My mom said that
Yeah,
it was
dude.
really nice today, like with weather.
No, it's beautiful, but
Because
it's
it
like
is Mother's Day.
fresh.
So
Yeah,
but she's
it's
up
like
in Somerset
overcast.
West. Maybe like they don't have like the cold sea stuff.
Maybe not. Who knows?
So I
This
said,
place you can drive around the corner and it's changed.
yeah, if you do that thing, it works. I'm gonna make it like /r/room ID for room, and then like
Okay.
that's like normal. So you just make a /r, like just to keep it like simpler. So when you go to /r, you know you're looking at like rooms, and
Yeah.
then we could even have like a /r that like just shows us all the available rooms and stuff. But that's for like later. What today's stream is about is going to be we're making a user profile page.
Okay.
So like we're gonna have like a route in here that like has a path of like /p/user ID, I guess.
Cool.
And then component will be, at the moment I'll just make it like a div. Profile. Don't know why it's going all red and stuff. I forgot the equal sign there. There we go. All our problems are solved. Yeah, I did push the new changes up now, like just before this call.
Okay,
So
cool.
that's finally done. My bad. Forgot to do that yesterday. Must remember that today. And I've deployed like what we had so far. So
Okay, awesome.
yeah. Okay, let's start with just making a profile page. And this is going to be a lot of trial error stuff because there's like some weird Firebase stuff where you have like a user profile which is attached to like the user object, but then like also like you have the, I don't know, like how do I explain it? Like the user profile, yeah, their profile is like public, like people can access that.
Oh,
But
yes.
then you can have like
Cool.
other like, and the thing with the user profile is the user is actually able to like change their own profile information. So
Yeah.
totally normal, but you obviously don't want that if you like keeping track of their win streaks and stuff.
Yes.
So there's
course.
like a bunch of like rules that you can set in security to make sure that they don't mess around with that.
Okay.
But yeah, that's fine.
We'll get there, bro.
We'll get there. I mean, we probably won't get there because we're not gonna. Well, we might with the game stat stuff, but like, yeah, I want to like go build that other project. So I actually mainly just want to get our project working, but I figured the profile stuff would be good to start with.
Cool.
So
which one do you want to go build?
I want to do that like
The
Lunar project.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Bitcoin went down in price quite a lot today, so totally worth buying now.
Oh, really? How much is it now?
Like I could check quickly. This morning it was like at like 165, so it went down from like 185 down to 165,000 like rand per Bitcoin. Now it's sitting at 171.5. So it dropped by like 20k, and now it's like slowly climbing up again. So I'm not too phased. I'm like, it happens. This is Bitcoin. It's volatile. So like, I'm just like, when that happens, I just hold until it goes back up again.
So what? So you can buy them for how much, you say?
Well, like, look, one Bitcoin cost 171,000 right now, like rand. But you can buy them in fractions. So.
Okay.
So like, yeah, you can kind of buy them in any like lower fraction. And like Luna just charges you like a 1% account fee.
Okay.
So yeah, but I totally just want to make that make a little app for like tracking and stuff, and like use it as like a kind of research like data collection project kind of thing.
Yeah, dude. Sure.
But yeah. So in here, I'm gonna return just this empty thing, and we copy like what we did for login. So login, we used the H1. And I'm just gonna call it profile. This should be the capital H1 that we get from components. Great. At least I have that little auto import there. I want to get the current user with this, and I want to try and like show what we have. So I'm going to say const
Okay.
user equals use user. So this is going to use the hook that we created yesterday. Cool. And I just want to console.log that user. So at the moment, like, it's just going to go to any profile page. Like, it doesn't matter if we set like the ID or something.
Yeah.
Like, we'll set a text down here. Like, we'll set like a fetch to fetch the user who we're looking at,
Cool.
like by their ID, and then we'll say like if they were found or not. You know, we'll worry about that like later.
Cool.
But yeah. I wanted to just like get started with checking some value. I checked the Bitcoin prices there.
Yeah.
So if I said /u / whatever, I haven't updated my roots, so I need to go do that. Let's go get that profile page from here. So just fetching the profile page. Just that profile. Cool. Right, and then I'm just gonna put profile into here. Great. So now if I go to my app, why is it not working? It should show the profile. Just thinking. I said / yeah. I'm saying /u for the profile, like for user.
Yeah.
There we go. It says profile, and then initially the user's nothing, which is cool.
Yeah.
It's fine. And then afterwards it shows like it shows detail about the user, but you can see my email in here. Email verified is false. That becomes true if you send like a verified email thing. You can either like, that's a Firebase function, it just triggers sending a verified email to someone, but it also automatically becomes true if they reset their password. Like actually doing that stuff is quite easy if you just follow the documentation.
Cool.
Yeah, you can see if the user is anonymous, because we're signing in with email and password, that's always going to be false.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of like metadata, like when they were created and the last time they signed in. Like,
that's very cool.
You can see all that stuff. Like, pretty insane, eh?
Very cool.
So they can store a phone number or a photo URL, just like random little extra stuff. The provider data, this is like, so we're using the email password thing. Okay, so our provider ID is password, but if you signed in with Facebook, you could get some extra like data from there. You get like a photo URL and like phone number and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah, like I think it will just fill up these things with whatever provider they signed up with, but we're focusing on email and password just to keep it simple. Yeah, there's their user ID, a unique ID. So yeah, like currently my display name is null. So I'm gonna say like, I'm gonna basically set if the display name is null, then I'm gonna set it to email. So what I kind of want to do in here is like check if the user exists, then like render some stuff, like render an editable field. Otherwise just like render like something simple, like just or I'll render it as like read only. I don't know, like I could do that, make it like disabled. Like we can update our field property to be disabled. That's probably a better idea. So I'm going to render a field that we also made in components. Cool. There's our field. And okay, how does the field work again? I gotta like remember all this stuff that we did yesterday. Field can have an error message. It won't this time. We'll just call this profile. Or we'll call this display name. There you go. Make an ID display name. Label is going to equal display name. I don't actually know how to change this. I'm gonna have to Google it just now.
Cool.
Unchange for now is gonna be let's leave the unchange out just
Yeah.
for now. There's gonna be like, yeah, I guess the placeholder will be like enter display name here. I guess I should use state. Use state and oops. And we're gonna put a state in here. Const use state. What we're gonna say now for this display name is, sheesh, I'm not talking straight. I'm just like mumbling.
Yeah, that's chilled. I'm watching.
Yeah, it's like you could just read on the typing. So this by default is going to be user dot display name. Okay, and it could be undefined. So it basically means that the state is like a string or it's null or undefined, I guess.
Okay.
So what? Well, I guess I could do this like ternary thing to just say it is like null, or make it an empty string. I guess I don't know. Let's make it so that it's always a string.
Okay.
So if it's undefined or null or something, it will just render a string, like an empty string. I'm trying to think, because what I actually want to do is make it like the email address.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll do it down in the actual display. I'm trying to think now, because there's a whole bunch of like lifecycle stuff that happen here. Because when the user initially loads, then it's like, you know, renders like stuff. I think what I'm gonna do is separate that. So I'm gonna make like a content in here.
Okay.
And for the user here, we'll say like, if the user exists, then we'll render content. Otherwise, we'll render like, I mean, for now, we'll just render P saying could not find user at that ID or with that ID. Or we'll actually say specifically what ID it is so we can get the React router. So we say with params. Or it's use params, sorry.
Yeah.
From React router DOM. And in here, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna get rid of this. We're only gonna use it once we know that a user exists.
Okay.
Because this content's like only gonna display if user exists, and we still have to make content.
Cool.
But yeah, so that simplifies our component a lot more. It means like there's less, you know, moving parts to watch by just breaking it into smaller components.
Yeah.
Which I often wish my colleague would do, but doesn't. Okay, so we're getting user ID from here, and now we can actually say what ID they tried to use in there.
Awesome.
Cool. I don't know why this is complaining. Oh, it's complaining that first of all that shouldn't be there. And then we need to make our content. We don't need the field stuff yet. So we're going to do the user like rendering stuff here. But then inside here, we're going to make content and we're going to assume that user already exists. Content.tsx. And I think this is one of those cases where we can just put the user in there. Like, it's not always fun to push props down, but this one's simple enough where it's actually simpler to just add the user props in there.
Okay.
And the reason is it just means we don't have to, like, yeah, this is purely based on the user existing, and we can say that the user definitely exists in here. So it's not going to be undefined, possibly like it is here.
Yeah.
So it is slightly different. I think we don't even need to make it specific interface. We'll just say it as is when we create the content. Say content equals FC, and in here it's going to take the props user, which is a Firebase dot user. That's its type. That means we can get user in here, and we can do our little return statements. And in here, I think we're just going to return the field, which will be that display name. Going to get field from components, and const. I call it display name. And set display name. So this by default is going to equal the current user. What's actually going to happen here, just realized, is we're not going to use the current user. We're going to try and find the user at like the ID. So this is going to change a little bit over here.
Okay.
Because you want to have it so that like so that I can go look at your profile, you know?
Yeah.
But I just want to get something on the screen first, so we have like something to work with. Because if we don't, then we'll be very confused.
I think that went weird there, my bro, by the const.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be. Yeah, it's my freaking autocorrect like weird stuff.
Yeah,
this initial state should be yeah. It's gonna be user dot display name. And if the display name well, it doesn't exist, then we're gonna make it user.email. Because the user.email will always exist. Okay. Right. So let's make a bit more space there. The field, I'm gonna go look at my login here. Or before I do that, let's just import content from content. ./content. There we go. So this is all good and fine. I guess I could just go look at the actual field component itself and see what it's supposed to be. So these are the props that's expected. This one won't have an error message unless we decide to check on the user entering stuff. But right now, I'm not too phased. Okay, so the ID for this will be it's a string, so it's just display name. Dash there. Oh my gosh. Okay, ID there.
Display aim.
Yeah, the label is display name. On change will be, we're gonna make a handle change in here. We probably are gonna have to do some this is user.
What are we?
We're gonna have the user to get the current user and make sure some checks are done there in order to know what's going on. So yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
What are we saying?
No, I was saying like, so what are we going to be changing for the user with the handle change?
We're gonna change the display name.
Okay.
It's gonna go in here.
Okay, cool.
So this is just gonna set display name e.target.value. Cool. I guess we I'll call it event just because but what they want here is a change event, so wrapped around an input element.
That's a TypeScript thing, eh?
Yeah. What does this actually want? Sorry. This on change is the on change already happens in here, so it means that we can keep it simple.
Sweet.
There we go. So we already built around that. Placeholder, we'll just make it enter display name. Type is just normal. The value is going to equal this display name.
Awesome.
Yeah, sweet. I want to have a use effect for if the user changes,
Okay.
then we want to set display name to be, again, the same thing here. So that just means that yeah, you know, if the user is different, then we want to reset this display name thing here.
Okay.
Why is that? Is email potentially null? Hectic. I wonder if we can just make it like empty like that, and this empty like that. Yeah.
There.
So you're saying if user.display name is null, then we make it user.email, but if that's null, we continue and make it an empty string.
Okay.
But like the user.email will never be null because the user always has to have an email.
Okay.
So it's just like some TypeScript safety checking stuff.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah. Why are you complaining? I don't know why that's complaining. Let me just rerun it. See if anything comes of that.
My bro, would you be able to just explain a little bit more about the 2 question marks used there?
Okay.
So like, yeah.
So if this is null,
Yes.
then we're going to use this value as a fallback. This is what I did in
Okay.
that
Sweet.
other stream. The
Yes.
period
Okay.
dot stuff. Period was null and it was crashing.
Yes.
So
Okay.
if this is null or undefined, it will use
Yes.
this as a fallback. But now we're just kind of
Okay.
chaining it on, saying, okay, but also if this fallback is null, then we're making it an empty string.
Okay.
So you're saying
Cool.
if that doesn't exist, make it this. If this doesn't exist,
That.
make it this.
Make it
You
that.
could also do
Okay.
stuff like, okay, in this case we know that user exists, but if user is potentially like undefined, you like say it
Yes.
like that, then we'd have to say like in here, like, okay, if user was null, then we use the fallback, and then like, you know, you use multiple things like that.
Okay.
Like,
I
so
get it, my bro.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
Sweet,
that's
dude.
a TypeScript thing.
Thanks.
It's very useful. Rick prefers to use ternary statements, so he asked me to do it to keep it simple. So what he would do is he'd say user, and if user exists, then he'd say user dot display name. Otherwise, user dot, or yeah, actually, otherwise, you know, empty string. But then in here, you do like another, it gets more confusing because you say, okay, now I want to do another check in here.
Yeah.
So we've got this check, great. Sorry, like a
Sure.
bracket here. so we got like that kind of thing. Sorry to just format it up, but then I want to do like another check inside here to saying user.display name. Then you say user.display name, good. Otherwise user.email.
Okay. Sweet, dude.
So that's technically what
I
this
get it.
does.
Okay.
But my way is just shorter.
Okay.
But yeah, he wanted to be consistent with his stuff, which totally makes sense, like follow style guide. But
Yes.
my style guide involves preferring this. So I just
Cool.
say user.display name. Otherwise, well, I'll copy it down there. I prefer this. But yeah, lots of people don't understand it because it is fairly new. Like it's like less than a year old.
Sweet. Cool.
So
Yeah.
cool. Let's see what this does. I didn't expect it to really work as I wanted. Okay, yeah. First of all, could not find user thingy because it was still fetching the user. What would I say? Oh, I didn't actually do the user find thing yet. Totally made sense to render that because we're doing the wrong thing. So this is finding my display name. Great.
Cool.
I want to make an update button. So I'm going to put a button down here. And we're going to call it update. I say on click. going to be handle update, which I haven't implemented yet. Handle update, great. Cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna alert a click for now.
Okay.
Just to get that like working. This is complaining because it's two adjacent React children. So again, we'll fix it by wrapping it in a fragment.
Yeah.
Button I need to import from our components that we created like ages
Cool.
ago. Sweet. Cool. And what am I doing now? So now we have an update button. So when I click on that and change it, we need to implement updating. And I need to like just sit back and think and realize how to update that. I was looking at some documentation up here.
Yeah.
With users, you can actually like get the person to update their password and stuff. I think what would be important is to first, before doing this update stuff, is we want to find out, like over here, is the user actually like, this is the user, like if the user's logged in, but what we actually need to do is not use this user. We need to like find a user at a certain ID.
Yes.
Cool, dude.
I remember, yeah,
Typing
how we
into
did
chat.
it with the other one.
Yeah, so we need to find users. So I think before that, I guess I want to like Firebase find user by ID, do something like that.
Yeah.
See what this person said. I always instantly upvote. Like I'm just like, they helped me. And they have a duplicate, so it could be something. Usually our idea is I'll load the user data when authentication changes. So this might be a bit more complicated. We might need to actually save their data as they create their account.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna read a bit, so I'll be a bit quiet.
Okay. Nice job.
Can successfully create a user according to the return message, but I can't see that. Yeah, in the console. The simple login, your user emails. Okay, so we might need to actually store our users as we create them. So that's like a big middle step that we need to do, which is good because if we do this, then what we're technically doing is we are like, yeah, what was I gonna say? We store the information and we handle it in our app side of things.
Yeah.
Because what we're doing here, it means that we can't really get to users like, yeah, we can't find users like without creating their stuff.
Okay.
So this might be some research. Unless there's other ways. So function list or users. This person lists their users. Where did they get that list result? Admin.auth.list. Thing is, we're not really like an admin, so it doesn't make sense. Please forgive me as I read.
Just chill, my bro.
There's the Python solution. See, I don't really want to use the auth method for it because I just want to find a single user. User profile page. Get user. It's probably helpful. So the db.collection user ID. I don't want to make like a new collection, do I? I just want to make a users collection and then have a document ID in there and then have profile within that, I think. Weird. Okay. So we might need to go back to update like our like auth setup to like create a sort of profile for the person.
Okay.
But I just like, I don't know how to keep this in sync with our user stuff. Like I just don't know how to do this like cleanly. I hate this. It's like blowing my mind. Yeah, look up more sort of Firebase user profile stuff. Because I know how to update a user's profile. Because I just kind of want to keep it to like their actual profile and like have their display name thing. Maybe when I create the user, I want to set their display name to match their email. That might make some stuff a bit simpler. But yeah. Because there's an update user profile method. Which is pretty straightforward. Like you just update profile and you get the current user. But how do I see another user's, stuff? So I'm just trying to think around that because we can do that so long. Let's get started with that just so we're doing something useful. But I really want to find a user by their profile. Guest user by ID.
Yeah, because what we did more of like when you click on that user, it gets that user and displays their information.
Yeah, like I want to have it set up so that we can go and like get another
Search.
user's information, but it's just like
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't use this auth method. Okay, so what we're using this that auth method for, the display name and all that stuff, is just not going to work. We need to create a new, like an ID for each user where we store that. So we're going to go down that route, and we're not going to make use of the inbuilt Firebase like display name.
Yeah.
So that's a important thing worth noting. That means upon signing up, when we do this, we need to actually do some other stuff in here, which is a bit messy. But we need to, first of all, in Firebase, in our actual TicTacToe, I'm going to delete our current users. Delete that account, delete this account. And in our database, we're going to want to
Yeah.
make a users collection. And then we're going to have like a sort of like, you'll have like some auto ID and you'll have like a field example, like display name.
Yeah.
And we're gonna like by default set the display name to be like, you know, my name up until my like email address. Like we'll cut the string at the @ and just render everything before the @.
Okay.
So yeah. Cool. So that it's pretty much that. I just want to start with that so we have something and then we can work off of that, so we'll have a nice base.
Cool.
So we create our email address, and yeah, so we create this user. I'm wondering if it returns any response. So I'm going to console.log that response. And we just going to test this out quickly to see if in our game
Cool.
we can, well, go back. And when I sign up as me, let me make my password 123456 and 123456. Sign up. Okay, so it does actually return the user that I've got now. And I can see the user, like, so I got my object, like response.user dot UID. We're going to use that for Firebase. I think that would be good enough for what we need. So down here, wait, where am I? Sign in page. So when we create the user, we're going to use our response.user.uid.
Okay.
And we're going to have to create a almost like a new kind of thing inside that then. So I do actually want to use the async await stuff now. Oh, it's messy. It's messy. It's fine. We'll use what we have now. So this response object can possibly be null, so something wrong would have happened. So first of all, I want to say if there's no response dot user dot yeah, actually if there's just none of that, then we're gonna throw an error. I think this is how that works. Let's say something went wrong. So let me just like make sure that's the right way to JavaScript throw an error. This means it will instantly go to the catch statement, and this will be the error that gets thrown. So you can like throw. Let me just research throw. Okay, there's a throws. I can just throw a string really. Unless there's a specific error. Yeah, I guess you can throw like just a string in there. Well, I think throw error JavaScript. I'd do something like that. I just want to make sure that what I'm doing is right. Throw a new error, yeah. That generates an actual error. So I gotta say throw a new error. What is wrong here? It's a string. It should be as is. Am I importing error for some reason? No. Okay. That error over here.
Yes.
I'm gonna say as error component. There we go.
Okay.
Should fix this. So much stuff. Okay, cool. That just means if there's no user, we're gonna throw an error, so jump out, which is good.
Yeah.
Because that's very important. Now we have to do db dot users. No, not that. db dot collection. I need to just import db first. Let me get db from services. db dot collection, and then we say users dot we're gonna make a dot doc, and then we're gonna say response dot user dot uid,
Awesome.
and we're gonna say like set.
Mhm.
So if there was one, we're just gonna replace it with this ID,
Cool.
because that ID should be unique.
Awesome.
So yeah, that we should set it to their display name to be. Oh, what else do I need to get in here? I need to see the response again, because I need to see the user response.user.email. Yeah, and we're going to split it according to @ and then we're going to return the first value of that.
Awesome.
So that just converts the string into an array, and then we just kind of take the first value of that array.
Cool.
And the array is split based off every @ sign, which you only have one in the email address, so yeah.
Awesome.
And that question mark just means that if it's not that, then it's undefined. So if it is undefined, we're going to make it an empty string. Or we'll make it like some like actual error to make sure that we know what's happened. So now we say like unknown.
Oh yeah.
Make it like properly unknown like that.
Cool.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to do error checking on here. I'm just going to pray and hope it works. I mean, I guess if there is a .catch error, then we're going to throw a new error. I'm going to return the throw. We're just going to like create a new error. And we'll also throw something went wrong. And that means that this gets thrown out into that catch.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it should work. I hope.
Sure. Let's check it out.
Yeah. I don't like mixing this. Well, I think we should like use async stuff. Like async awaits and stuff in there. I'm thinking maybe we should just do it now.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this whole thing in a try catch. I know it seems weird now because we're like, okay, cool, what have we done? I just think it's gonna be easier to understand what's going on if we do this. For X. And the exception we'll set in here. And then what you can do in here is you can do a finally as well. And the finally we can do the set is signing up false. So that happens regardless of whatever happens. Okay,
cool.
So now this part we need to convert to stuff. So we'll say const response equals await. And we're gonna await this process. So we wait for that to happen. If something goes wrong, we throw the error.
Cool.
Okay, cool. And then the then is what we're gonna handle in here. So again, if that happens, we do this. I'll move that up there. Cool, totally normal. Then next thing we're gonna await this. Wait for that to happen. And this catch doesn't matter, because if it does throw an error, it will throw it down there.
Okay.
Cool. That means we can take all of this out, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
That was us converting that whole thing into a try catch finally thing.
Yeah.
Which is actually a lot easier to understand now.
Yeah.
Because we wait, if something happens, we throw an error, then we wait for this to happen, then finally we do this, regardless of which thing happens.
Awesome.
Okay, now let's check if it works. So, I guess let's go onto Firebase, and my user that I create here, I need to delete these accounts and go sign up for a new one.
Cool.
So in our app, we're gonna sign up. Sign me up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we sign me up. Okay. That's a rendering issue. That's fine. We'll fix that somewhere else. Right. So the things we need to check are, firstly, is a new user created here? Yep, that worked. In my database, do I have a new user with the username Barry Doyle 18? Yes, that worked. This is the
Sweet.
initial one we created. One of them is the initial one we created. I don't know which one. I guess if I went to /users, I can tell which one to delete. But maybe I should just delete both too. I think I can delete the whole thing from here. Yeah. Delete the users collection. I'm going to delete my username now because yeah, I want to start fresh. So we delete this account. Cool. And now we go in the app again, and in the app we'll make a new me. So let's sign up. Sign up as me. Yep, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sign me up. Okay. Now it's clean, I think. Because now we should have the users created. Yep, it was created. There's a user with my name.
Awesome.
Okay. So now we can actually do the find user stuff. And what I recommend is we do a hook for it. I mean, we should theoretically put this whole thing into a hook, but it's fine. We'll keep it like that. There's 2 use user. So I'm going to make a use user. I'm going to change the current one to use current user.
Okay.
Okay, so current user means the logged in user, and use user is going to mean use like a user by their ID. Okay. This does mean I need to update this here to use current user, and I'm going to say current user provider as well. And it means that we need to go into here and change their values.
Cool.
I'm just going to put current in for this as well. So it's more descriptive. Okay.
Yeah, it's just that R.
Sweet. And now all the places in our app where we've done this, so we call this current user provider. And then there's a few pages where we've used our current user. That can stay as user. That's fine. This shouldn't be user, it should be use. So that can stay as user. We can change it to current user to be more specific, and we probably will if in the profile page. But yeah, the stuff is just use current user. Some cleanup there. Also use current user. Great. And yeah, we're using current user,
Cool.
but we probably will change this, so I'm not too phased about that.
Okay.
So the actual user that we want to create is pretty much like using the room.
Yeah.
It's going to be a similar kind of thing, just a bit simpler. So gonna put that up there, and it's gonna use the use effect and use state as usual.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. No. I'm just gonna find it by the user's ID. I'm not gonna use params for that. I'm gonna use DB from services. Yeah, import room. Not room. We're not gonna do any typing stuff right now. Interface here is going to be, oh, we are going to have some typings. So we're going to have typings for like a user profile.
Okay.
We'll just call it user, I guess. And we'll have a display name, which will be a string. So up here, I can save this, close it, and we'll import user from typings. It's like a TypeScript thing, I guess, where we're just defining like what this user will be, you know.
Awesome.
Like what that object will look like. And now we do our const user, or use user. It's going to take an ID to the string as input, because we might use this in multiple cases, unlike the room one, where we know that there's only one room place. The output we still need to create. What we're expecting in here is, yeah, simply again the user. So the actual like user profile, which will be a user, and we'll have an is fetching. And they could not find the user, it could be undefined. So yeah, boolean. Cool. And now we're gonna say const is fetching. You can pretty much copy this thing here. Very similar by false by default, and this instead here we use user. And here it's gonna be user. Yes, over there, let's make it capital U. Cool. I'm gonna copy this whole thing because it's also fairly similar. It just means down here we export default use user instead.
Cool.
This is based off of the ID changing. And yeah, instead of getting from rooms, we're gonna get users. We're gonna get the ID. I guess maybe I can call this user ID up here, just so we're a bit more content with that. And then in here, we're gonna set users, and it's the document.data as user. And here we just say user not found, and that's pretty much it. Just put user in there. So exactly the same, just a kind of fetching mechanism set up. Yeah, I mean, what we could technically do is like make a reusable hook. That's a bit more configurable, where you just say, you know, get like fetch a document from a collection. So you say the document ID, and then you have the collection name, and then yeah, that's all you need. It's any difference.
Okay.
And then instead of returning like room or user, you return response.
Okay.
So you have the response, you set the response, and the response is, yeah, you could even have like a TypeScript template thing to say what type we're looking at, like, yeah. But we're not using it enough to justify making one of those just yet.
Cool.
Maybe if we made another one, I'd totally do that.
Cool.
Yeah, okay. So we got that hook. Let's export default to use user. This is gonna be up here now. Export default as use user from /use user. Cool. What do you mean use user wasn't found? I think I just need to rerun this. Cool. So the next thing we need to do is back at this profile thing now that we created.
Yeah.
I need to remember that ID. I don't have to remember it, but like over here, now instead of getting current user, we're going to use user. And we're just going to put the user ID in here. And that's pretty much how it's going to go. And instead of this being a current user, a Firebase user, it's just going to be user from typings, which is going to be the display name thing.
Okay.
There we go. So there's going to be none of this stuff. It's literally just going to be user.displayName, and display name is always something. Like it's not going to be nothing.
Okay, cool.
So we don't have to worry about that anymore. We could even have like display name like this, destructured like that, so we don't have to do this anymore. But it kind of like overlaps with our naming. Sorry,
Cool.
I need to be forward a bit. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. What is this complaining about? I think I just need to like edit this a little bit. The output here, it's user and is fetching, not just the user anymore. This hook works a bit differently now. So by default, if it's fetching,
yeah,
we'll render that h1 if is fetching. We'll return an h1 just saying fetching user profile ... Cool. This user now is just going to be like a simple object, so I'm not going to console.log that.
cool.
So what I'm expecting now is us to try fetch the user and get the wrong ID. So just to say that they're not found. Fetching, and I couldn't find. Okay, that's
sick.
good. It's kind of what I want. Obviously I could make this into a nice little component, but I don't care right now.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Cool.
You can make it like look like a prettier p tag that's centered and
Yeah.
stuff.
That's sweet.
Maybe bold it or something, and make it like the theme black. So
Cool.
just do what we did with the h1 and make like a p tag, I guess, for it.
Cool.
So yeah, that's your homework. Not much. And then yeah, so now I'm gonna go look and see our users just to make sure. So that's bh8, and if we go to the authentication thing, please be the same thing. Yeah, so those user UIDs actually match. Perfect. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm going to put it in our app over here. I guess the app is running over here. If I replace this ID with that copied ID, then yeah, it fetches my profile with my name and stuff.
Sick. That's so cool.
Next thing I want to do is make it so that only I can update my name.
Yeah.
Now, like the thing that you should be doing is like there's a bunch of Firebase like rules. You can set rules to what like you basically create rules that say that only these documents can be updated by these kind of people and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to worry about that right now.
Okay.
I don't know what the monitor rules means. Maybe you can see if people are trying to break it. Yeah, you can see if people were denied. and had errors and stuff like
Oh,
with
awesome.
rules. So yeah. So you can basically, yeah, you write like a bunch of stuff in here. And yeah, so you can say like, okay, I want to have like get, I don't know. You've got to be like authenticated to change things and authenticated to do stuff,
Yes.
authenticated to get, and have a bunch of like special rules where, yeah, that user is
Okay.
allowed to do stuff. But I'm not going to go into that now. I don't really care.
Yeah.
So I'm just going
Okay.
to make the UI side of things. And then if we wanted to do
Yeah.
this Firebase ruling stuff, you can like look into it. I'll have to do it
Cool.
for the other app, definitely. But
Sweet.
for testing purposes, like, yeah, just screw rules.
Yeah.
Worry about being secure later and then like looking at it
Sweet.
properly. Because right now we don't actually have an app where we've like defined like business rules.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to do now is this part. I want to only show the button if the current user is the same as the user that we're using in here.
Okay.
So I'm going to say we're going to use params first to get the selected user ID, like the user profile that we're looking at.
Yeah.
It's basically what we had up here. This user ID.
Yeah.
And we'll get use params. And then I want to like use current user from my hooks. So import use current user from hooks. And I want to see my const current user equals not conest use current user.
Yeah.
And if like I'm gonna make a little I guess I'll call it a React memo. That's what it is. So I want to say like is current user, and this is just gonna be a boolean. That's gonna equal like current user dot UID equals user ID. So yeah, then we do a bunch of rules, but I'm gonna wrap this in a like a use memo hook, just for like improved like caching basically. And yeah, I've used this before, but basically it's just like saying, okay, I only want this value to change if current user changes or if user ID changes.
Okay.
So every time the app re-renders from a set state change, this value doesn't get updated because it only needs to respond to these values. Just got to figure out what's going on here. If the argument for dependencies was provided, that bracket doesn't need to be there. Cool. So yeah, pretty much just does a check. Is the current user ID matching the user ID, and then only update this value if current user and user ID change. So it's just a little performance boost. Great. So this is current user. I'm going to say this field is disabled. And I haven't updated this for my field component if the person is not the current user.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to hide this button. Well, this button's only going to show if the person is the current user. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I guess what I could do in the fetching user profile. Oh, no, it's fine. That doesn't matter. Because the user can be undefined and then you can still see you can be not logged in and still see this profile.
Yeah.
I need to update my field component so that it has a disabled property. Disabled question mark boolean. And then it falls under REST, so it falls in the input already.
Yes.
Like, so
Cool.
all sorted. So now it should theoretically just work. I gotta remember that user ID, so I'll go in here. So yeah, I'm the current user right now. I'm logged in. I'm gonna copy this URL, so that I can go log out quickly. Log out, and then yeah, now that's my display name. It's non-editable. Only I can edit it.
Awesome.
I need to fill in the. Oh, I guess let's go log in again. Log in as me, and then go to my profile. Should probably make a go to profile button. And now I can update it. Obviously, I haven't filled in the update yet, but we will make a
Cool.
I'll make a hook for that. What I want to do here is, first of all, in my home page, I'm going to say a button. If I am logged in, to just go to profile. So down here, I'll put it in here and say go to profile. Okay, my go to profile is simply going to be, I'll stick it in the middle here and be alphabetical, I guess. Go to profile. And here we say /u/ I'm gonna make this backticks. And we're gonna say my user.uid.
Cool.
And I'm gonna assume that that exists because this function only runs in there. What's wrong with this? This is two adjacent components, so we need to wrap them in a fragment. There we go. And I need to change that to go to profile. Or I'll just call it profile. Cool. That means if we look at our app now, and we should have a back button, yeah.
Yeah, I was
let's do
thinking
that as well.
I was making that
we can put it up
silent homework.
Right. I'm gonna stick it in here just because
Cool.
like, yeah. So go back. Yeah, you can start tackling this project now and like doing any like cleanup stuff with it now that we're kind of more settled in with it.
Cool, bro.
Because yeah, initially we were doing setup, and now it's like if you find little things that improve the features of it, like even if you wanted to, like you could do something like in the top here, say like logged in as someone, or you could do it up here, like, you know, or at the bottom, like logged in as someone. You can like change the styling of this to match it, what makes more sense. I don't really mind. So you can put it in the layout, like saying logged in as a person, and yeah. But that's up to your discretion. Do what you want. Yeah, I was gonna say back. Cool. So that means if we look at our app, we can go back. Doesn't work because I didn't actually do the history.
Yeah, it didn't push.
And I didn't actually put it in here either. So say history. Just put an empty function in there. Not push date. Why you always do that? History. Stick this in here. Use history, and we get use history from here as well. Perfect. Now we'll go back. There we go.
Awesome.
So go to my profile and change stuff. Now I'm gonna make a hook for update profile.
Yes.
Use update profile. And this hook, it's gonna work similarly to the mark board.
Okay.
Just a lot simpler, obviously, but it's also an update. So that's why I'm gonna make a like. I'm gonna make use of looking at that Firebase thing, because we need to use the We don't actually have to get all this stuff. We just have to
Mm-hmm.
update. Maybe it'll work more like the use clipboard, where you just update, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, the use state for the is updating.
Yeah.
It's triggered on click, so we don't well, we don't have anything there. Use params.
Yeah.
We don't use params actually. We'll put the ID in as a
Okay.
as a variable for this. So yeah, interface output. I forgot my importing DB. Services. So the output is going to be a update profile.
Yeah.
This is going to take in the display name. It's only going to take the display name for now, so I'm just going to make that like one simple thing.
Okay, cool.
And we're also going to have it is updating. I guess is updating goes down here. No, it goes up there. Boolean. Great. So now I'm going to say const use update profile. It's going to equal, we're going to have the user ID in here. So
Okay.
that still goes in there. That's where we put it. And then the output is this.
Cool.
And I'll export defaults. Use update profile. Great. And now we'll say const is updating and set is updating. It's going to equal use state. We set it to false by default, so I'm going to take this out because we already know that it's like that. Okay, it's just complaining that we haven't like done our return yet. So we're going to return is updating, and we're going to turn the function that we still need to make. We're making an asynchronous function. We're calling it update profile.
Yeah.
And that's also being returned in this hook. So let's go set up how the hook's going to be implemented first. Again, just so that it's easier to understand like what's going on here.
Yeah.
So in the pages, profile content, we're going to run the update here, but we're going to get the hook. So long, we need to export the hook. Use update profile. Default as use update profile.
My bro, just a quick question. You know, in the hook that we're busy with.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, so you know the user ID, so will we also have to import it, or are we going to be using it from the
So it's
database? Do we have to import user, or?
No, user ID is just a string.
Okay, so
the ID is just like, yeah, it's a string.
okay,
so,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much going to show you now in the content here where we're going to use update profile. We're going to say use update profile.
Yeah.
And the way it's going to work is we are going to, I mean, we can use it like anywhere, yeah, but we have the ID over here.
Already, yes.
Yeah. So we have the const use update profile. Not use update profile, that goes over here. And over here, we're going to stick the user ID. So in the update where we say what document we're updating, we'll know it's here. But the thing is, like, the actual display name is going to change. So we need to pass that change display name into this function. So this function is going to take a display name. So this function that we call over here is going to take that.
Okay.
So yeah. I know this was a tough thing to grasp the first time we went through it. So it is in general quite weird, like to think, okay,
Yeah.
what part is attached to what? But we're exporting this whole function out of this thing. So we're gonna over
Yeah.
here we'll have the is updating, and we'll have the update profile, like command, which we're gonna run in here. So down here, I mean, I might as well set some additional like preventions. Is just make sure like if it is the current user,
Yeah.
this is like never gonna be an issue, but like, you know, it's extra front end checks, you know, to be careful and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, it would just be banned. Like, it will, if you set your rules up correctly, it will throw an error saying you're not authenticated to do this,
Yeah.
which is great. So in here, I'm going to put in our display name, which is set and updated here. Okay, nothing changes there. This is done. Now we need to do the tough part of, well, like doing this. So
Yes.
again, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move the, instead of doing that, I'm going to say finally, just because it kind of matches the syntax more. So in other cases, you can go change that as well. Where we have a set is clearing at the end, we just say finally do this.
Yeah.
You know, cool. And if you wanted to, you could move the like update user stuff into here as well. But yeah, we might even want to get to a point where we like group these better. So group them to like profile and group them to stuff like
Yes.
that. So you put all the user stuff in profile, and you put all the like other stuff in like game room, you know.
Yeah.
And then you just export them from there. So you could group that if you wanted to. It's more homework.
Okay.
So initially we're going to say set is updating to be true. Then we're going to do all our try statement stuff. We'll do our try and catch. And then we'll do our finally. So finally, we're going to set is updating to false. If we have an error, we're just going to console.log it. We could, again, add error to this output here if you wanted to.
Yeah.
And then like show an error message on like underneath the profile button and stuff.
Okay.
If you want to do that, you can do that.
Okay.
Because we have this like error component now. So we can like, you know, stick it at the bottom of the screen or the top of the screen whenever something goes wrong. And like just means that you add another like you can add an error message here and make it like undefined by default.
Yeah.
But then in the components where you use it, like if it's not undefined, display the message like we did in the login and create user.
Cool.
That might be something worth trying out. But yeah, try out little things one by one.
Yes. Yeah.
And then as you get something working, just like get commits and push it.
Cool.
So that like you can go back to a point, you know.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna await DB. Not BD, DB. DB.collection. And now we're gonna look at the users. And we say doc at the user ID. And we're just gonna say update.
Yes, because that's what I wanted to figure. So updated. Awesome.
So we're gonna update it by display name, and that's it. It's done.
It's very cool.
So now if we look at our app, so firstly the user, back at the data.
Yeah.
I wonder what this indexes does. Sorry, I'm curious. So if you do indexing like properly, you can kind of like improve the way stuff gets fetched and stuff, you know.
All right.
So it's worth looking into that as well. But anyway, it's a problem for another day. We're not like scaling heavily, so we don't have to do any indexing right now.
Yeah. I don't want to implode my brain yet.
Yeah. And I'm going to change my username to Barry. So on the app, we just close everything else here. So, sorry, hit my mic.
That's chilled.
I want to see that this changes to Barry when I update it. Oh, I need to be OCD. my updating. Well, I guess it's quite important, but we need to actually use that is updating. So we need to make this button disabled if it is updating. And over here, we're going to say if it is updating, then we're going to render ing, otherwise we're going to render e. Cool. Right.
Cool.
So
I dig those. That's very cool.
yeah, like little cute hacks. Right. So that's our project. If we say Barry, it updated. So over here, it's changed to Barry. Okay, cool. So we have like users where their names can change.
That's very cool.
I need to think about like first of all, I think we should call it here and stop here. But I need to think about the user, like if they should, if they should do like stuff. If we make it so that each user has their own room.
Yes, that we
Like
still
so,
want to
the
do.
user creates a room, and then that room is like the ID is here.
Yeah.
But then the room data is all in here. So then like the room that they create will have like the host ID and the guest ID, you know.
Okay.
So the guest is playing like X and O and yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
So
Sure.
but yeah, so then I gotta think about how we do that first. Like if we have like a create room or and a join room. So from the home page, the user can create a room or join a room.
Okay.
But yeah, it's just like hard to think. I mean, this is good progress because now we have like a users array. So when we
dude.
When we have
That
more
was
users, we
insane.
can do stuff. But yeah, the next thing is going to be quite like all over the place because we're going to have to say like create and join
I feel
room.
that.
And the join room, we're going to have to list all the rooms. So it might be good to do the join room thing first, just to list all the rooms.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know. Let's create a room first and then we list all the rooms. I don't know.
Cool.
And then you can list information of whether or not they're full and stuff like that.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome.
And then we make the host instantly like remove their room when they log out.
Yeah.
Sweet. Cool.
That's rad.
I don't know. I don't even know this stuff. There's so many things to do.
Dude, yeah, well, I enjoyed this as well. It was very cool.
I do
Learn
need
so
to
much every day.
study today and tomorrow, but and then
Yeah.
Tuesday I've got quite a busy day. So I was actually thinking if you're up for it, we can do a Tuesday late night session.
Yeah, dude, I'm keen
Yeah,
anytime.
I'm free from like 9:30 onwards on Tuesday night.
Awesome. No problem.
So it's gonna be a bit of a break. So if you do want like stuff to do, like as homework vibes, ask me and I'll think of things where you can like just go and do it.
Yeah,
that will keep you
I
busy.
will.
Yeah,
Awesome.
but
Yeah,
I mean,
I've been
like main things are maybe like setting up our app for the error stuff.
Yes.
Do you have an idea of what to do there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so it's just like in all of these cases, like for all these like for Clearboard, for like Markboard, and for use room,
yes,
we have like an error, and then in the actual room component, where is it? Like all of these, you'll like countdown, you leave countdown out of it, but you basically have an error object on here, like an error item, which is just a string that's potentially undefined. So you have error there, and like error here. And then you just do a bunch of like at the bottom here, like put some like if error message, okay, what might be important is like, let's say you called all of these error message like this.
Yeah.
Obviously you can't do you can't get it like this again, like error message over here.
Okay.
Because they're the same. But what you can say is clearboard error. and like, so you're renaming it to clearboard error, and you're renaming this to room error.
Cool.
Obviously, it's freaky out here because you haven't implemented on the hook side. But
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
so now down here, you just you would say like clearboard error and then you do the error message thing, and then underneath you do the room error and like, it's okay to show two of the same errors like underneath each other, like stacked. And then just remember the use effect. Like, make a new use effect that every time something changes, like, well, actually, it's not a new use effect. It's just that every time they click one of these, then the error should you set all the errors back to undefined.
Okay.
Which means that, actually, sorry, this is more complicated because like, what you actually thinking if you just make it so that errors show there. What you can do is inside the hooks you make a, like, if every time it does like a refetch, like in the like in, say, let's say we do this use clearboard, you should set the error to false over here when you click it.
Yeah.
And like the same for using the room when you're fetching it. On every like effect, when it runs again, you need to set the error back to false.
Okay, yeah.
Or you maybe set the error back to like false in here.
Okay.
So yeah, I just like play around with it, test it, make sure. I mean,
Yeah.
it's hard to know if an error actually happens. What you can do is you can do the throw new error thing, like throw new error test, and that will make it go to the catch. There's no catch in this, so you need to add a catch to this.
Cool.
Yeah. And you might want to, again, another thing. Okay, this on snapshot works differently to the dot then. So yeah. Yeah. There's a lot to this. You can play around.
Yeah, I'll just mess around a bit, check things.
Yeah, do it like piece by piece. Yeah, and I'll try. Yeah, it's quite a bunch of stuff, but do what you can. Do other cleanup stuff if you can. Make that styled p tag. So make like
where else did we use the error?
We used it in login.
Used it on the login
and the sign up.
And the sign up. Okay,
Yeah.
so
and I mean, you can convert these to hooks as well.
Okay.
That might be a good one, to convert this to a hook, and then like the handle login will be a thing where you set the error on the hook side of things. But, yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's quite a bunch of like little things you can do to improve.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Awesome.
Because this login is very confusing, and the sign up is even more confusing, obviously.
Yeah.
But they can be moved to a use sign up hook, which you manage the data and the view separately, so that you can understand things better here.
Awesome.
But yeah, when you're making the hook, just basically pick your things. Like, pick your, what you're gonna have in the hook is like a sign up function.
Yeah.
And you'll have an is signing up, and you'll have a Firebase error thing.
Yes. Cool.
And yeah. Then everything else kind of feeds into that.
Yeah.
Like the email and password, confirm password, will go into the actual, handle sign up, the sign up call.
Awesome.
Yeah. Everything else stays outside. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a lot more simplified if that all happens.
Yeah, so you can. That's probably other good stuff to do. But yeah, let me know if you get stuck. I might just look over it and say what's wrong. I don't mind looking over it. Just doing a full stream is going to be like a bit hectic for the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Cool. That was fun.
Super chill. Yeah, that was awesome. That was super rad. I enjoyed it a lot.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. We did some pretty cool stuff.
Always.
Yeah, I mean, next like Tuesday stuff's gonna be pretty insane too.
Yeah.
So for people who are watching a kid, Tuesday, that's the 12th of May and 9:30 p.m. GMT plus 2. So yeah, it's basically like the daytime for the Americans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be like
Awesome.
between like 1 and 3 kind of vibes for them, depending on what their time zone is. They have different time zones across the country.
Yeah.
They're more sophisticated than us. We're like a wide country, and we're like, no, everyone just same time zone.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
anyways,
that's
yeah, I'm gonna end the
yeah.
stream.